Let me set the scene. It's a nice and warm Saturday morning in the middle of the summer. The time is 6:30 a.m., and you're leaving to go to the gym to do a 3.5 hour long gymnastics practice. It's that time of year where the morning is still a little bit cooler than the rest of the day, and the ground is still a little bit cold to the touch. The sky always has that faint green and yellow hue to it that dignifies that it's time to wake up. You are about to go destroy your body with your friends for the rest of the morning. And during practice, you're going to try to sneak in as much fun with your friends as possible, doing funny tricks and playing around with skills and combinations on the floor. When you're waking up at 6:30 a.m. on a lovely Saturday morning for a long gymnastics practice, the last thing you're thinking about is how could this benefit me in the future? However, this was the case for me one rainy/snowy day in January 2020. My last competitive year at gymnastics was a really hard time because our coach left us abruptly in the season prior. This was hard for all of us, and a majority of my teammates dropped out, and they stopped doing it. It was me and my one closest teammate trying to trek it through one more final year. During the summer, you're preparing for the competitive season. You're coming up with routines, you're trying to get skills of different values to match up, and you're trying to figure out flow and repetition. Then once you figure that out, you then have to practice it so many times that it becomes muscle memory. And you practice so you can get it perfect when you compete. You have to practice for every single event. Boys have 6 different events to compete on, while girls have 4. So it's a little bit more for us to remember, but some things are shorter than others, like vault, super quick, pommels, pretty self-explanatory. It gets complicated during the rings and the P-bars when you have to remember moves and names for everything and different skill levels and values for it all. You practice so that during the cold months, you can compete. When you compete, you are judged on being perfect. Basically, you have a starting value, and when you do something wrong, you get a deduction. So you start at a perfect score, and then once you do something wrong, it gets taken away. You're obviously trying not to mess anything up because you want to be perfect so you can get the best score. On top of all this, you're also trying to compete not only with other gyms, with a rivalry, you're also trying to compete with your own teammates. So you're competing with your teammates to win as the gym, and you're competing against your teammates to be the best in your age category. On this morning in January, it was a meet that was really, really far away. It was at a naval base. We woke up super, super early. I think it was like 4 a.m. to get there on time. We finally get there, and it is time to make our way onto the naval base. I decided to take some leadership. What could go wrong with that? I look up the naval base on my phone, and we start trekking. I'm leading my little group of me, my dad, and my poor grandmother. It starts to snow/rain, and it's really, really cold outside. And after we are walking for a mile, I realize we're walking in the wrong direction. I was furious with myself. I don't know how this could go even more wrong. It seemed as if the world was pointing me in the direction to not compete. Once we finally got to the building, I thought this was the light at the end of the tunnel. We were finally there. My battle was over. Wrong. We could not find the entrance. We found the building, could not figure out for the life of us how to get inside. I was trying to embrace this keep your head up energy, and it just felt like the world was doing everything to want me to not compete, basically. It felt like everything was going wrong and it was all my fault. We pushed through. My dad convinced me. We finally found our way into the building. Now that it is time for me to compete, I am now officially late, which I hate being late, which is just adding to the narrative as well. We finally find the place to go. We're there. I have to compete vault immediately. I get one warm-up and then I go. It was a great vault. I was shocked. It set the scene for the rest of the day. I kept my head held high, and I went in with an attitude of, how could it get more worse than this, basically? So I had fun. And I tried my best. And I ended up winning the entire meet. Even with a rocky start, When all things seemed hopeless, I was able to pull from the depths of that, keep my head up, and do the best I could. Even if you prepare for every outcome you think may happen and you still have something go wrong, just remember that it is impossible to prepare for everything. I believe that some things are meant to go wrong. However, it is up to us to grow and use that to empower ourselves. Thank you.